During this holiday season, families all across America are struggling under the brutal weight of Bidenomics. You know, Bidenomics means a lot of bad things. This year alone, the typical American family is $7,500 poorer because Crooked Joe's globalist blunders and greedy betrayals have really hurt us badly. Joe Biden is a low IQ individual, and he is truly the worst, most incompetent, and most corrupt president in the history of the United States. You know, I used to treat him with much more respect, but once they indicted me over charging a fake and broken and corrupt election, and by the way, yesterday Rasmussen came out with a poll. Did you see it? It said that on mail-in voting, 20% of the ballots were rigged and broken and disgusting. 20%, that's about millions more than we would have needed. And it's a disgrace what's taking place between open borders and a broken election system. It's a horrible thing that's going on. But I would have treated him better, and I treat him not necessarily nicely because he's a terrible president, but I would treat him with a lot more respect than I do right now, because what he did is he opened a Pandora's box. That's a very bad thing and a very dangerous thing for our country. The Biden administration is running on the fumes of the great success of the Trump administration. Without us, this thing would have crashed to levels never seen before. And if we're not elected, we'll have a depression the likes of which I don't believe anybody has ever seen, maybe 1929. That's what's going to happen. We're running on fumes. With your vote by Christmas, and we're going to have it by Christmas 2024, that's just shortly after the election, because of the momentum of our victory, we will have a U.S. economy roaring back, and in 2025, we'll have one of the greatest economic years this nation has ever recorded. You know that. People from all over the world will stop coming to the border because they will know that just like 3 years ago, think only 3 years ago, we were energy independent, we had strong borders, we had everything going. But they're not going to come because they won't be able to get through. 3 years ago, we had the strongest border we've ever had. Today, we have probably the worst border anywhere in the world, let alone in our country's history. Together, we're going to bring our country back from hell. Not one thing, if you think about it, has gotten better under Crooked Joe Biden. Name one thing where we're doing well. We're not respected. The world is laughing at us. Under the Trump administration, you were better off, your family was better off, your neighbors were better off, our country was better off, America was stronger, richer, safer, and more confident than ever before, I would say, and we had the best economy in history. And when you had me behind the desk of the Oval Office, people did respect us. Other nations respected us to a level I don't think maybe we've ever been respected like that. But just think of it. Were you better off 4 years ago, or are you better off today? Yeah, not even close. That's an interesting question. That's a question I'm going to be able to ask a lot. What a difference a president makes, and it does make a big difference. Since Joe Biden took over, we've had a 3-year inflation rate of over 20%. Gasoline prices are now $5, $6, $7, and even $8 a gallon. By contrast, under the Trump leadership, my leadership, inflation was non-existent, and we had gasoline down to $1.87 a gallon. Doesn't that sound beautiful? Beautiful. And we'll do it again. Drill, 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 right? We'll do it again. After 3 years of Bidenomics, a 30-year mortgage rate hit a high. It's got the 22-year high, highest it's been in many, many years. Think of 2 years. But I believe you can go back because you can't get any money. At 9%, 10%, 11%, you can't get the money, even if you want to pay the interest. The average monthly mortgage payment has gone from $1,700 under my administration to $3,400 under Crooked Joe. That's a slight difference, isn't it? How when I was your president, you had a 30-year mortgage rate actually hit an all-time low, the lowest it's ever been, about 2.6. I think 2.6%, think of it. And now it's, you can't get the money. It doesn't matter what it is. It's anything, because you can't get the money. The banks don't want to give you the money. Today, a $2,000 monthly mortgage payment gets you a house worth less than $295,000. Under the Trump administration, the same number would get you a house that today would be worth $460,000. That's a big difference. As long as Crooked Joe Biden is in the White House, the American dream is dead. It's dead. You don't hear about the American dream anymore. People want to survive. But all of that will change the minute the polls close on election night 2024. We're going to have something that's going to be very, very special. Very special. Bigger and better and stronger than ever before. You watch. And it's going to go quickly. It's going to go very quickly. And we have to close up those borders immediately, don't we? Huh? People are coming in from prisons and mental institutions. They're terrorists, many cases. The next economic boom will begin the instant the world knows that Crooked Joe Biden is gone and Donald J. Trump has won 4 more years as president of the United States. America will be far better off with Trump, just like we were 3 years ago when it just worked. It all worked. Everything was working. The whole world respected us. Together, we will once again fight for Iowa families and Iowa farmers like no one has ever fought before. Nobody has ever been stronger for farmers than Donald Trump. DeSantis doesn't even like farmers. He doesn't like farmers. I said, that's not good. He doesn't want to get that word out. No, he doesn't like farmers. He fought the farm bills. He fought everything. And I did just the opposite. I got him through. And I'll mention it a little bit later because we talk about it. I got you $28 billion, the farmers, $28 billion from China. How many people do you think would get $28 billion from China? But I got it not yet because Bobby told me, be very careful, sir. You're getting a little bit cocky with the $28 billion. I said, no. We're going to win Iowa by a lot because I got him $28 billion. Who else? Biden was sleeping. And you know what I was doing? I was tossing and turning, thinking about how I get you that money while he was sleeping. He was sleeping like a little dove, unlike Crooked Joe, who wants to dramatically increase the estate tax or the death tax. I virtually eliminated the unfair death tax. I eliminated it from small business and farms so that instead of, if you love your children. Now, if you don't love your children, then it doesn't matter. If you want to leave, does anybody not love their children? Please raise your hand. There's one guy raised his hand. Sir, would you please come up? Let's talk about it. That's funny. I'm sorry. I think he was kidding. I'm not sure. No, I don't think he is kidding, actually. No, but, you were, as you know, before me, they were going out and they were borrowing money and mortgaging the farm to pay the estate tax, or the death tax, as we call it. And now you don't have that anymore. You can leave it to your children if you love them. If you don't love them, just forget what I said and let's think about something else. But that's a big deal because they were losing their farms. You would pass away, you love your children, you'd leave it, they'd go out and mortgage the farm to pay the tax, and they'd lose the farm in many cases. But Brenna Bird would come along and she'd save them, your Attorney General. She'd say, we're not going to do this to them. We're not going to do it. Right, Brenna? She did. She actually fought for a lot of families who were put out of business by the estate tax, but now they're not because we got that ended. I ended the NAFTA disaster, the worst trade deal ever made, and replaced it with the brand new USMCA, the best trade deal ever made. Actually, the deal I made with China might be better, but after COVID, I don't even talk about it. But they buy $50 billion worth of product from the farmers and manufacturers, but mostly from the farmers. $50 billion. Think of that, $50 billion worth, but I don't even talk about it. It was probably the greatest trade deal ever made. I thought they said 15. I said, what's the number we want? Sir, 15 billion. I thought they said 50 billion. Maybe the hearing's not quite as good. I said, all right, you better get 50 billion. So I'm talking to him the next day. How you doing? Sir, we're getting close. We're at 14. But I said, I don't want 14. What do you do? I want 50. And they got 50. We got 50. That was an amazing deal. But I don't talk about it too much. The deal was so good, in fact, that what we did with USMCA, it was unbelievable.